Hi.
Hi.
It's Tuesday. We have a creeper around the corner over here.
I'm like, what is it doing?
Jean was peeping around the,
That was
the corner.
really
Yeah.
weird. I don't know what that was.
Oh, that was funny.
Very strange.
Yeah.
So,
Wow.
So glad he's home.
I know, right? It's Tuesday again.
It is Tuesday.
Again. It is.
So welcome to Tuesday.
Yeah.
We are. It's been a Tuesday.
It has.
It feels like Monday.
Right.
Yeah. So we've got a store that has got boxes and bags, and we are trying so hard to get all of the Lavu Bag Lady bags out to all of you. And we still are waiting on just a couple things, unfortunately. So those of you who bought like the first 12 have everything. Everybody else is waiting on something, it feels like.
Yeah, the 40 after.
So the 40 after are waiting on something. So we're almost there. We're
right.
so close. In the meantime, we're trying not to trip over this beautiful stabilizer that is waiting to go home with all of you. So
it's crazy. We have stabilizer stuff coming in. Your kits are ready for the Kimberbell virtual event. Mm-hmm. So you should be receiving an email probably tomorrow that they are, if you haven't already received it today, but you'll have one from me saying that your kit is
summer
here.
Nights.
Yeah.
We finally got the last of that stabilizer in today.
It's just been all about waiting for stabilizer.
It has, absolutely. So we got that cut and packaged, and those are those who have been requested for that to get shipped. Those are all bundled and are ready to go out. And those who are picking them up, they're bundled and ready to go out. So working on emails. We made some new friends today that bought some cabinets. So nice to meet you ladies. But didn't get an email sent out. But speaking of email, if you guys look right down there, right
there,
it's moving right down there. That's really weird. It's like, right in there. We have a new email address. So you guys have heard us maybe whining and complaining just a little bit. We've been having trouble after trouble with our email. And everything we try to fix
creates another
works
problem
for like a week, and then it blows up in our face again. So we decided to just bite the bullet and created a new one. So slowly but surely, we will be starting to send things from that email. You will start seeing things. So if you can start replying and sending to that email address, that would be fantastic. Hello to everyone who is saying hello back to us. And if you can start by switching that would be fantastic. When you do get the June newsletter, it'll have that information in there as well. So if you can change our contact in your email address books to that email down there, that would be super helpful so that we can start.
And it should be easy to remember. It's stitching.
Because that's what we do at LabuSewingCenter.com.
Yes.
So
we thought that would be better than info or help or sales or I lost my whatever at I lost my mind. That's maybe what it should have been.
Maybe we should have had that, right?
I lost my mind at LabuSewingCenter.com.
Spent my paycheck at. That would be my email.
Yeah.
But
it's like when people say, "I wish that what you had on the sales receipt was like the grocery store or something," because then my so and so
wouldn't know what I bought.
Right.
Yes, milk equals yard of fabric. And eggs equals bobbins, and there we go.
So look, all the way from South there. She says it's windy.
It's windy.
It's windy here too.
It is.
That helps you feel any better. Yeah, it's very humid. It's
very, very humid.
I'm looking at my watch like I've got like 12 things connected. It won't tell me anything except for that I'm connected.
Yeah, mine has the wrong face on it. It's not telling me anything.
Technology. Wow, right?
Yeah, so I finally gave up on my old phone and I went and I bought a new one yesterday and trying to get it connected, and
it's hard.
It's making all the wrong noises. I don't know what it's telling me at all today.
The struggle is real.
The struggle is totally real. So what are we going to talk about today? We haven't really gotten anything new in the shop except, speaking of phones,
fabric.
Evidently, Hayden just opened a box that had some fabric.
Yeah. He might be cursing our name over there. Wondering where
He
he's
would
going to
never
put it.
do that. We didn't bring our magic little black box over here.
Oh, yes.
Maybe if he's not super mad at us, he might bring that. Oh, that might be more.
Oh, our special black box.
The little.
Yeah.
So, actually, that was my phone.
That's what it sounds like when I ping something. So I keep thinking all day
You keep
today.
thinking you're losing something.
I'm like, why is my watch pinging?
No, that's my new phone.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll need to change that sound. And I
Carolyn
keep
will be
waiting.
thinking the same
I
thing
keep
tomorrow.
waiting for it to make the old sound. And thank you. And it's not making the old sound. And I did change my text sound to be. It's not making that sound, even though I told it to. So I'm confused. But I don't know what I'm supposed to be doing. Very, very confused. But we did get in one new thing this week.
Yeah.
It wasn't fabric.
Right.
And maybe when we switch cameras here, I'll put it on the smaller so it's easier to see. So we've had a lot of people come in and over the past couple of years have said, why don't you guys have these things here? Because we've picked these up at this shop or that shop or whatnot. So we finally have remembered to order because we've thought about it and talked about it, and it just never
wasn't the right time.
It just wasn't the right time. It never came to fruition, right? So we finally ordered these little guys here that go on either your phone, which is how they were actually designed to go, but they work really well on the edge of your sewing machine to put your scissors or little tools in that have handles on them. So what you can do, if I can get it out of the box, they're really well packaged. So this is a beautiful ring. It's got adhesive on the back, and then this little guy moves, and so you can put your scissors right in there, and they will be nice and handy on the side. And then when you have a question and you need to call us, our phone number is actually laser etched right inside of there. So very, very cool.
Right. Or if you need a kickstand for your phone, or
if you need a ring, so if you're holding on to your phone,
right,
because you don't want to lose it, because they're big, I mean they aren't getting smaller.
No, but maybe they just want to prop it up while they watch us.
They watch. Well, that's right. Maybe you guys need a little stand so that you can multitask while you watch us.
You can be at your machine and be on your phone at the same time.
So I actually have a different type of this on mine, and I absolutely love it. So my new phone does not have one, so this is gonna go fine. So
they came out really nice.
They did. I'm actually super excited on how well these came out. Was not anticipating the nice packaging. So
yeah, bonus.
Yes. So we have these here. What did
$10.
$10 I think is all that these guys are. And like I said, they're laser engraved. They came out super nice. The ring on mine is super loose at this point because I've spun them and I play with it. Surprising, I know. But super cool. So those are here, and we have a whole bunch. So you don't have to worry about not getting yours, but by all means, please rush in to get it. So
absolutely,
we'll put those on the site too, because that sounds like fun.
It does.
So that's a fun little tidbit that came in this week.
Yeah.
But we have a little bit of actually kind of a serious thing that we're going to do today. We are going to talk about quilt labels, and actually more specifically, memory quilt labels.
Yes.
So there's certainly lots of labels that can be put on a quilt, just made with love, whatnots. But it's kind of been a year, kind of a little bit of a year. I'm talking a lot today. Would you like to get a word in edgewise?
No, you're fine. So, but Lisa's right. It has been a crazy year, and today is a somber day, and for our country, kind of. Yeah. I don't know. It's been hard. It's been a hard year, and there's been a lot of loss. There's been some good things, but there's been a lot of loss, and it's been a really tough year, and things are starting to look up.
They are
for everybody, but we thought today. Us, right? This is how this industry, right? It's kind of our therapy. We make things
absolutely
to express how we feel, and a lot of people are making things to express how they feel. And this year, especially, you should label it. You need to put something on the back of it so that people remember what you were thinking,
what you were doing,
how you were feeling. what was going through your mind when you made this particular project, because they're going to be different. The things that people made in this past year and probably for the next couple of years are going to be different than what has been made over the last few years, because
Absolutely.
we've just had a lot of
it's been a very different year than any of us have ever lived through before, whether you're 90, whether you're 50, certainly whether you're 20.
Right.
It's just been a very, very different time for all of us, and it's been very interesting working here because we've met people that have never done anything before.
Yeah.
And they wanted to help, whether it was I made 500 masks that looked like crap but they helped somebody, or I've been doing this forever and so I made 500 beautiful looking masks because they wanted to help somebody.
Right.
But they've picked up this hobby because we've been home and we are learning new things, or whether they have just maybe started sewing with family or their neighbors,
Right.
And different things that we maybe haven't tried before, whether it's new people. I know my mom has knit, which isn't exactly this, but it's still a craft and those kinds of things. And they met every week,
right,
somewhere together. Well, they Zoomed for this whole year. They Zoomed knit.
Yeah.
And I know that there's been a lot of sewing people that have done that as well. They can't get physically together, but they did. Okay, well, we're going to get together at this time frame and whatnot. So what we're going to do today is we're going to talk about how to create an embroidered quilt label and some different shapes, some different ways to do it, and maybe help you guys if you never really thought about it, because I haven't really thought about that a lot before this year. And it never really dawned on me. I'm like, well, I know I made it.
Right.
So what difference does it make? But the person that you're giving something to, it adds that little extra something. And, it's funny looking back. I'm like, why didn't I label these things before?
Right.
Because I used to be really, really heavily into scrapbooking, and I still scrapbook. Not much anymore. I have beautiful, beautiful boxes full of scrapbooking supplies, but I didn't really do much with it lately. But when I was, it was kind of like, if it wasn't in the scrapbook, it didn't happen. And I used to actually teach scrapbooking, and we would talk about, well, I don't like my handwriting.
Yeah.
Or I don't like to journal about it. I just want the pictures in there. I don't want to tell the story. Well, the story's what it's all about. And that's kind of what this is.
Yeah.
Is telling why you made it and who made it.
The year that my house got hit by lightning,
it's not funny. I'm sorry.
But it is kind of. It's okay to laugh about it, because when you hear what I say, you will just laugh at it. So we had been scrapbooking. I was scrapbooking like wedding stuff, and we were kind of moving through the years. And I had said to my husband, I said, "There's not a lot of stuff happened this year. I'm not really sure what I'm going to put in this
year's book."
And this same weekend, it was Memorial Day weekend. So this time of year always reminds me of it.
Yeah.
We're coming up to it. That's when our house got hit by lightning and it went up in flames. So be careful what you say about there's not much to talk about. Because sometimes they'll give you something to talk about. So it is, I'm way past it, so it's okay to laugh about it. But it is comical when you think about how you process things and you want to remember them. And now that I look back at it, I'm glad that I have something to remember
those,
because it was awful going through it.
Absolutely.
But you come out stronger, and you realize things about you that you did not think that you would get through, and people get through it. This has been one of those years.
Those are the things that make you who you are, and those are the building blocks of all of our lives, and we all have things in our lives that have made us who we are.
Yes.
Whether they were great things, whether they were really sucky things that we just had to push our way through.
Right.
But we all have those things. And, I always told my students back at that time, I know you hate your handwriting, but somebody out there loves your handwriting, and that means something to somebody.
Right.
My grandmother hated her handwriting because her hands shook.
Mm-hmm.
But I still have cards that she signed.
Right.
And I can't throw them away because I don't have my grandma anymore.
Right.
But I still have that card, and it was a piece of her.
Right.
And it was her handwriting. And I know it sounds stupid, but that meant a lot to me. So,
Right.
you know, and I told her that once, and she used to type everything. She stopped typing her signature and she started writing her signature in the cards that she'd send to me in the mail,
Right.
because she knew how much it meant to me. This is something that you can give to somebody,
Right.
that's going to be that personal something.
Mhm.
And I know some of you guys have been in my embroidery classes before, and we used to joke around about putting a little put a little bit of yourself in the project.
Mhm.
This is another way you can do that.
That's right, because the thing we know is that we none of us will be here forever.
Nope.
And once we are gone, we will no longer be able to tell that story.
Absolutely.
So what you leave behind is your story.
Yep.
And this is part of your story, and it is a great way to pass that along. And it is probably the most important part about your story, because you won't be here forever to talk about it.
Yep.
And probably the one thing that people leave out the most. So
yeah.
And I get people that ask me questions about what to put on their it is
what do I put on the label?
Right. You put right it doesn't. I always tell people, if it's like, if I were giving something to Lisa, you know, I would try to put something on there that's like something funny
about us,
right, that is
right.
between us. So, you know, it would definitely say SnL, and it might say Buzz Buzz or something on it, because, you know, I know how much she dislikes bees, right?
Don't put a bee on anything that you give me.
So I can't be a bee, right?
But the Buzz Buzz, I would totally get it, and right.
So, you know, something that just
with stripes in it.
No, that's right, right. You know, something that is meaningful to you, to the story that you share. And yours would totally
be pink,
right? And I would know that she hated making it because she hates the color
it was
pink. But it's about the story. So that part doesn't have to speak to somebody later on. But the part about it that should speak to somebody later on is who you are, who you made it for, why you made it. And maybe if it is in remembrance, it might have something special about that particular person. So, you know, if I were to make one for my grandma, I would say something about how, you know, this is made in her honor because she always made me feel special. You know, she always had the right thing to say. And, you know, something like that. So you put as much information on that label as you want to be on that label. And how big that label is doesn't matter. It could be as big as an 8x12 sheet of paper. Right. It can be as small as you want it, but you can't put too much information on it.
And, you know, we have the ability to actually digitize our handwriting.
We do.
So it could be something like that. You know, Holly wrote about it, you know, grandma's signature as a tattoo. You could do that as actual embroidery. And I've actually done that. I've digitized my initials and put them on a gift before. So there is something to be said for that.
Yeah.
You can actually draw right on these screens in some of these machines. We're going to talk a little bit about software in a minute, but you can actually do that right on some of these machines that have the ability to digitize stitches, and you could sign your quilts. How cool is that?
Right. So think about
just
your message.
Percolate a little bit in there, you know, and it doesn't have to be a poem. It doesn't have to be a big long letter. It could just literally be, you know, in memory of, made with love. It doesn't have to be a lot, but just taking the time to do it, that's the little piece, that's the nugget.
Yeah.
And however you put you in there, that's your personal touch part of it. You know, it could be the letter B, it could be a pink heart, it could be whatever that is that makes it you or from you. That's the you part, but taking the minute to do it, that's what matters.
Yes, absolutely. And
what do you like?
Sheen was doing this over there, and he was sticking out his tongue at us.
With him, he was dancing over there a few minutes ago.
I know, it's like, because he knows we're trying to be serious.
We're trying to be serious.
And then the second thing that people ask me, the second thing besides what to put on it is how to put it on.
How to do it.
So if you have a choice, embroider it on the backing of the fabric. If you have an absolute choice, you already have your backing fabric, and this is not an afterthought. You know, put it in the middle of the bottom of the quilt, put it in the top right hand corner. It does not matter where it goes on the back, just put it on the back of the quilt. If you embroider it or you hand stitch it right through your backing fabric, When it's quilted, it will be quilted through there, and it will be a permanent part of this quilt. It will never be apart from it. If you put it in afterwards, someone can separate that from your quilt later
or the
on.
stitches could get torn, or
right. If it's, God forbid, it's stolen, somebody could actually just literally unstitch it from the piece. So make it a permanent piece of that quilt if at all possible. And if you can't, then sew it in as much as you possibly can so that it will actually stay with the quilt. But the actual placement doesn't really matter. The only reason that it would really matter is if this was a bed quilt and you were going to put it on top of your bed and you were going to fold the top over, you might not want it to be in that particular spot.
the foot of the bed.
Right. Yeah. So, if that's the case, but on wall hangings and things like that, it's up on the wall. It's about the story. It's not about the placement.
Absolutely.
All right. So.
All right. Where do we want to start?
Let's do the computer part first.
Okay.
Because then we can disconnect that, because I feel like we might be just
see.
a little bit.
I saw it flickering a couple times. So
okay, so we are going to show you on the actual sewing machine in a minute, but we have our computer up over here, and I want that. There we go.
There we go. All right. So what you guys are seeing right now is the screen of PE11. So there are many different options. We actually sell many different options. This just happens to be the brother version. There is also a baby lock version of what you're seeing. And then there's, of course, the Floriani and the dime, which we also sell. I will attempt to talk about the different things as I'm going. When we're just adding text, everybody has a text tool. There's not a whole lot of differences when we're talking about text. There are certainly different tools available in the different pieces, but there's also different shapes. So Sarah's going to show you when we get over to the machine itself. When we have shapes, there are many different shapes when we are in softwares. There are shapes in the machine as well. If we want to keep something very, very simple, we have ovals and we have rectangles. We can also do triangles. You can do lots of fun things. So I'm just going to grab a rectangle and I'm going to draw that on screen so that you can see that really simply. I currently don't have anything sewing in the middle, so we're going to pretend this is an applique. We're not going to get into that today, but you can kind of visualize that I would have fabric in here that I'm stitching on, and that would be my satin stitch around the outside. So in here, the phone is, of course, going to ring because we're live. And then I can grab my text tool. So in software, we have the ability to basically type from many different types of fonts, which is what is really the advantage of using software over what you have in, or one of the advantages of what you have inside of the machines itself. So over here, I'm just going to click on this little guy here. I have to type a letter first. So let's just type in memory of, and we'll leave that for the moment. And over here, you can see I have lots of different font options. There's just lots of noise going on over there, isn't there?
Your phone.
My phone is having a heyday. It's vibrating, it's dinging, it's doing all kinds of things. So in here, along the left-hand side, there's a bunch of numbers. These actually are all built-in fonts, which means they are actually digitized letters, which means they're actually digitized to be letters, which is actually, they're the best kind of things to stitch.
Yeah.
Kind of like what you have in your machine. When I keep going, you can see there's a whole bunch of them. When I keep going at the bottom of that list, there's a whole bunch. I'm scrolling. I'm going as fast as I can. All right. So now you can see that there's letters here instead, or maybe you can. Hopefully you can, depending on how big of your screen you've got here. It says TT. And what that is it's true type. And a true type font is what is included in the Windows, or I don't know how Macs are set up, but this wouldn't work on a Mac anyways. So it's the font file for, like, if you were typing in a Word document, all of those different choices that you would have if you were typing in there. These are not digitized fonts. They are just shapes, for lack of a better description, that look like a font. So the computer is going to generate a font in the best as it possibly can. You'll see that it's not actually giving me a whole lot of visualizing. So let's see. If I wanted, you got a whole bunch in here, lady.
I do. I was going to say, yeah, I like.
How about cinnamon cake?
Oh, that's a good one.
Cinnamon cake it is. So you can see that it changed my font. I'm just going to move that into the center of my box here. So you can see that I have a color, which I can very easily change because, of course, color matters, and I don't like pink, as we just discussed. So we can go down and we can pick purple because I do like purple. So in memory of, if I come back over here on the right-hand side, in a brother or a baby lock, if I want to have a multi-line text, I need to hold the control key down as I hit return. If I'm in Floriani or in a dime program, then I do not need to hit that. I need to hit the apply key when I'm all done. So in here, I can type in John Smith. I can hold the control key and type in, what are we in? We're in 2021. So all of that, when I hit enter now and I don't have the control key, those all become stitches in my screen. I have the ability to play with those. I can resize them. I can have all kinds of fun. I have individual text tools that I can play with, lots of different things. Over here on the right side of the screen, so all the way over here, I don't know how well you guys can see the mouse moving. I have the ability to do an alignment, so I can center everything, in which case you can see now, I'm going to move them back towards the middle of, there we go, middle of the box. You can see everything is centered. So just like in Windows, when you hit center alignment, everything goes to the center alignment. It's really, really easy to do this when I'm on my computer screen. First of all, I have a really big screen. Second of all, I have a mouse. Third of all, I have a keyboard. Really easy to type.
Right. And it's in keyboard font.
It's in my QWERTY keyboard. So
Yeah.
if any of you guys know what that means, it's super easy. I can actually type in my normal way of typing.
Right.
And I have the ability to do curves. I can do all of those different things right here on my screen. So it's very, very simple. My outside shape, I can make changes to. It's very, very straightforward and easy to see because it's on that nice, simple screen. When I go to export out of here, I can see exactly the size that I've ended up with. I can resize on screen here. Again, I can recalculate the stitches in a computer program like this, where I don't always have the ability to do so on my screen. This particular screen that I am on, this is a 5x7 that I have turned so that it is on its side. So I know how big I am working with here. I know exactly what I've ended up with. I can see exactly where I would be able to fit that on the quilt. So, you know, if my quilt is a baby quilt, it's going to either be oversized or not big, too big enough, or whatever it is. I know exactly how big it is that I'm working with. Sometimes on screen, on a machine, it's a little bit harder to get that estimate of how big it is that you're going to end up with.
Right.
So computers can sometimes make that a little bit easier. My phone wanted to pitch in on that again.
Yes.
So are there any other questions that are popping up?
Nope. We just, so we are going to show you how to do this on right at your machine, but we just wanted to give you a little snippet of
software and how easy it is to use software to make these.
If you own software, if you own any software that has lettering or fonts, every software that is on the manufacturer that is out there that has fonts will allow you to save in multiple formats. So you should be able to use that for your particular machine.
Yep.
But it is definitely going to be easier to create a label on software on a computer because you have the ability to just make those quick changes and type. So we are going to do this on the machine in just a minute, but I just wanted you guys, Lisa and I wanted you guys to see that if you find what we're going to show you on the screen here tedious because it's tiny and you have a hard time seeing it, there is a simpler way, and you do have access to software. So
yep.
Don't be afraid to use your software.
So some of the older embroidery machines, you know, we of course are working on the most up-to-date ones that we have, and everything that we have in store pretty much now has the ability to do multi-line text.
Right.
There's a lot of older machines that don't have that ability. So creating a quilt label on older machines is not as simple as it is on the newer ones.
Right.
Being able to basically have a return key to just type in another line is super simple.
Yes, it is.
So for having software on some of to work with some of those older machines, it really does come into play a lot more with some of the a little bit more out of date machines than some of the more current ones.
Absolutely.
I have up on screen, this is the export function in the PE or the palette, just so that you guys can see. Doesn't matter what machine you're actually stitching on, we can export in any of those formats. You can see that we have the ability to export in all of those different formats available. So
Yep.
I just wanted to pop that up there because I got the impression you were talking about it. Maybe it wasn't a question. Maybe you just were talking about it.
Just letting people know that you can, like, you know, if you're making a label for your friend, you can make a label for your friend's machine, and you know, if you haven't converted her to a brother or a baby lock yet, you don't have to give her grief. So Diane asked, what software do you ladies use at home? So Lisa is actually on my laptop right there. So that is my software, and she has exactly the same software. We both also have Dime software, and you also have
I have
Floriani
as
software.
well. Mm-hmm.
So we do use the software that we sell, but you can.
I hop around, depends on what I'm doing personally. If I'm doing fonts, I'm pretty much always in PE. Mm-hmm. I think that they have the best font tools personally.
Right.
It depends on what I'm doing, where I go.
Yeah.
They each have highlights.
Yeah.
Every software, who is the best on something.
That's right.
So I software jump.
Yeah, and lots of people do, and that's okay. So, and Holly asked, does BES I'm assuming that means is BES 4 compatible with the Dream Machine? Yeah, it's compatible with all machines. So
absolutely.
Yes, absolutely.
Mm-hmm. So BES 4 is not a digitizing software per se, like this one is.
Right.
It is actually known for it's a lettering software, mm-hmm. So it would be ideal for something like this.
Yep, absolutely.
Yep.
Did you want to add anything else?
I think that's pretty straightforward for what this is. If you want to kick it out, so that there's one less thing on drawing on the.
Yep, and then
Bye-bye.
Hit the little button and let's close it.
Hit the little button.
Yeah, like there we go. X.
No. John Smith can go.
There we go, and close that one, screen 2. There we go.
We are not online.
Woo! Okay, so we're back, and look how I'm not sure why it now we have 2 screens. It's doing its own thing today.
It is. Wow, that is really blurry.
Okay, so that was a little bit about software. Again, everything we're going to show you on the sewing machine, you can do in your software and or a version of that, vice versa. So without further ado, we're going to talk a little bit about.
You get to push the buttons.
Now I get to push the buttons. Woohoo!
We're good at pushing buttons.
All right. So I apologize. I know that you can. Hi, there's my face. You can see my reflection in the thing here.
There is no way to get rid of that.
Yeah, hopefully you can
unfortunately.
See this enough. But basically here, let me go back to this home screen here. So we're on our base screen here. We've chosen embroidery. So if you turn your machine on, the only thing that I've done is I've actually gone to embroidery. So I prefer to start with the size of the label that I want to make. And so I'm going to go to shapes and let's do a circle because, I mean, that's cute, right?
Right.
So I'm going to grab this circle and this circle right now is really small. It's less than 3 inches. So I'm going to edit this and I am going to hit the size button, and the buttons up here are, they will resize it proportionately, bigger or smaller. And I'm going to use the arrows going out to make it bigger. And I want this to be at least 4 inches. We're at 5. So this is 5.6 inches. So that's a decent size. Mm-hmm. I don't want to make it too small because then it's hard to read the letters and the stuff that's in there.
And it's also hard to get multiple words in there.
That's right. And so actually, I think I'm going to make this about 6.
Perfect.
So there we go.
Beautiful.
So then I'm going to select OK. And then the next thing that I'm going to do is I'm going to pick a font. So I need to hit the add button. And then I'm going to choose my font folder here. And I'm going to make this a little taller so that you can see on this particular machine, there's a ton of different fonts that you have. Depending on which machine you have will depend
You'll
upon
have a different number of
how
fonts
many
available
fonts.
to you.
That's
Yep.
right. So the lower fonts down here are the tiny fonts.
Yep, don't choose those.
So yeah, don't pick those unless you want this to be like a very small label.
This is for the dollhouse, then that would be your choice. Yeah.
So I like this number 11, so that's the one that I'm going to pick here. And then I'm going to start by putting the first letter out. At this point, I'm going to decide whether or not I want to adjust the size of my font. I think probably the large is going to be a little bit too big for me to fit much on here. So I'm going to go to the medium, and I think that that's going to be okay. And so I'm going to write whatever it is that I want to write on here. And I've got uppercase and lowercase. So I'm going to go here. I really dislike these keyboards. It's like I do know my alphabet.
Right? I always feel like I feel like whenever I'm showing somebody this, they must think, wow, she's really stupid.
Right?
It's like, she doesn't even know how to spell.
Oops, wrong button. I wanted spacing. I wanted space.
Now you're in caps.
I am, right. Thank you.
You're welcome. What are friends for?
Right? And I'm going to return. And where's my H? All right. So we do have multi-line text here. And I do use the multi-line text a lot. Like I used it here, but I'm not going to use it for my next line. And so I'm going to take this and I'm going to move it up over here. And then I'm going to start my next one. And the reason that I'm not using it all together is because I'm going to want to be able to sort of move the stuff around on the screen a little bit.
So if you put it in all together, then you're forced to edit it all together. So if you put it in sections, then you can play with it in sections.
That's right.
Yes.
So
smart.
I'm going to go back to the ad again. And
he's got smarts.
Yes. I'm going to pick that font again. And I'm going to put
no.
Thank you. I'm all in
That's
caps still.
Yes.
See, this is why I like the computer, right? So if you forget, there is no you got to just back up. And then you have to decide what you want. There is a really good glare on my side of the screen.
Yeah. In fairness, she probably can't see what she's doing. Bottom line.
What's that? Oh, thank you. Can't even find my own name. There we go. And then I'm going to go ahead and go down one more, and then I'm going to put the date. So I have the information that I want to have on there, and then I can pick and choose what I want to do. So I can still edit this because I have two pieces. So if I go into the edit size here, I can grab this and I can move it and I can rotate it and do different types of things with it. And then I can change the color if I want, or I can decide that this is exactly what I want. And if this is what I wanted, then I would just hit the embroidery button and I would be on my way.
So there are certainly a lot of text editing tools still in the machine. So, you know, when I'm showing you all the stuff in the computer, there's lots of stuff in there, but there's still quite a bit at the machine. You have the ability to resize, you have the ability to do multi-line text, you actually have the ability to do multicolored text. You could break that apart and have them all be different colored letters, which of course would be a pain in the rump, because you'd have to change the thread on all of that, but you could do it if you really wanted to. We could go in and we could add flowers along each of the sides just to give that just a little bit daintier of a, you know, a look. You can do whatever you want. That's the fun part about all of this, is you really have that flexibility with the editing tools that are built into the machine. You can do all of that here. There is quite a bit of play right at the machine, and right at most of the machines. There is, so I mean, once you get to this level, you have even more, but there really is quite a bit of text editing capability in most of the machines that are on the market these days. There is really quite a bit that's there.
You just have to decide how much information, how much time you want to spend on your label, and then how much information you want to put on there. I always tell people write it out first. Because it does make it easier than when you're sitting here going, I wonder what I should put on there. That's right. So, and if you don't like something, again, we have the ability to go back and make some changes. So we can pick whatever it is that we want. We can move it. We can make some changes.
I don't know why that's grayed out. Oh, it's grouped.
Yes.
Hit the ungroup button, I think. The blue square in the circle. Maybe not. Look at us. We know what we're doing.
Right. Yeah. Sometimes it just happens.
It does.
Yes. But I can pick and choose different pieces of the design to move around. So this button here will
allow you to separate the pieces out.
To separate the different pieces out. Set it. Select.
And now you can hit your T.
And now I have my editing capabilities back here. So
so if you misspelled it,
yes,
you can go in there and
because I've never done that before.
Right. So you can actually, I don't know how well you guys can see because there's really bad glare right there, but we can actually move and go back and fix the E if you just misspell. So you don't have to untype the whole thing. So like I said before, there's quite a bit of play right there at the machine. You can arc in here just like you can arc in the softwares. Right. You can actually change the font right there. So you can actually type everything out and then preview all of the different fonts to see which one you actually want it to stitch out in.
Yep. So I can just keep picking different fonts that are here. And then, like I said, there's a little
tiny one down there.
You don't want that one. But you can pick and choose what it is that you want to do. So you can do as much or as little as you want. It just depends on what you want when you want to do it.
Where did it go?
It's there somewhere.
Yeah. Anyway, so big picture is that it's very, very simple to add this in. Now we could literally put the backing fabric, stabilize it properly and stitch directly on it. You could stitch it as an applique so that you're adding a little bit more stability for those stitches so that you're not getting any tunneling, because text has a tendency to want, depending on how large they are, to tunnel. So you certainly could add that in and give yourself a little bit more stability from that perspective, but very, very easy. You could do triangles and tuck them right into the corners.
Absolutely. And you don't have to, you don't have to stitch out the
outside.
frame.
It could literally be stitched just the words.
Right. And if you're, oftentimes I just use the frame for my sizing. So this is just the size that I happen to want. And then I can just edit that out, or I can just, I can just hit the delete button.
Say bye-bye.
And it'll go away, but I know how big it is. So, especially when you're working on your machine here, you want to make sure that you start with a size. So have a size in mind, because I mean, that looked itty bitty, but we were at almost 6
inches.
So it was much bigger than our objects are smaller than
they appear in mirrors. That always gets me, right?
Right.
So,
but you can see, and then like on the screen here, the different pieces were broken up here, so we could change the colors or move them around and keep moving. So I can size that, make it bigger. So I made them 10.5 inches, which is definitely not going to fit in my 6-inch box anymore. But
no.
But this is what happens, right? This is what happens. This is what people do. They're like, "Oh, that looks great
I can
see
it. That looks perfect." And you go to stitch it, and you're
and they're like, "It won't fit in the 4x4 hoop." No, it will not.
It will not. But both your shapes tools in here and your text tools, they have limits, but they aren't restricted to your standard embroidery design limits.
Right.
So, you know, if you popped in a flower and you tried to resize it, it would only go up 20% and down 10%, which is there to keep it looking right. Mm-hmm. The fonts and your shape tool, so the circle that she pulled up on screen, you have the ability to resize those much more than or less, depend, you know, if you're going smaller, you have a lot more playroom on those than you do with a standard embroidery design, because they're still actually being created in the system. Mm-hmm. There's not a finished design, if you will, I don't know how to better describe that.
Right.
So it's not the 20 up and 10 down with your fonts and your shapes. So you can go with from 2.5 to 6 or 10 or whatnot. So lots of play available.
And, you know, sometimes you just have to keep pushing the buttons.
Absolutely. Worst case scenario, you're like, I have no idea how I got here. Turn the machine off and turn it back on. Start over.
Yeah, absolutely. But you won't learn learn the little nuances unless you literally just
you really do have to push the buttons.
Touch the buttons. Yep. You got to spend some time. And this is definitely much more tedious than doing it in your software, because we're also used to typing in a certain way.
Right.
But it's totally doable.
Absolutely. I'm sorry. That was my fault. So I told you when we had the other camera up that I would show you a closer picture of this beautiful piece. And so we've got the phone number and the website. Thank God we didn't put the email on there.
I was just thinking the same thing.
So that is the Lavu logo there, the website, and our phone number on these great little guys here. And those are only $10. So you can use them for your phone and your machine.
Absolutely.
So really fun little guys on there.
Yeah. So we've done applique shapes and things like that on here before, but again, just put something on your quilt, on your wall hanging.
And it doesn't even, I mean, it could be any project. You could have a business card size, made with love or whatever, or happy birthday.
Yeah, Brett.
2021 or I mean, it could be anything though. Right. But the whole thought process today was it has been a year of very, very strange changes and losses, and
it's been very emotional.
It has. And whether some are good, some are very bad, but there's been, sadly, we've heard a lot of people come in and that have lost somebody in this past year, and they've found ways of dealing with that grief and different things. And so today has been a day that a lot of people are taking to remember loss.
Yes.
So that's kind of where today's lesson.
Yes.
Content.
Yes.
Yeah, that came from. So we hope you enjoyed it. Take our 2 cents and do what you will with it. It'll get you not very far, but there you go.
Might get you to Leabu. Get you in some traffic.
Right. So it's really not that bad.
No. No. It's totally the way I come in anyway, so it hasn't messed.
It hasn't messed with me too bad. No. And I haven't forgotten yet
That's good.
Last time they had construction on industrial. I don't remember what it was. Maybe it wasn't there. Maybe it was on Eisenhower. I totally screwed up and I kept forgetting. I'd get all the way down there and go, son of a gun. And I'd have to turn around and go the other way. But I could do it all right this time.
So this week is Lavu Bag Ladies.
It is.
And if you did not receive an email, please let us know. Because we definitely are still making sure that we get everything together. And
so we sent an email that you should have received on Saturday afternoon that had the coupon code for the one-time use of the website. Mm-hmm. So you can shop on the website actually all through the weekend.
Yes.
We will not be here this weekend. I'm so sad.
Yes. So we'll be here through Friday.
We'll be here through Friday. Be closed. Yep. Shop is closed Saturday, Sunday, Monday. Yes. So we'll be back next Tuesday. We'll figure out what we're going to do.
We're going to party all weekend long.
We'll tell you all about it next week. So if you are coming in store and you are a previous from the past year bag lady, bring your bag on in. If you are new, we understand you don't have the bag. This is the only month you get a break.
That's right.
We've got a list in here. You can just let us know that you're on the list and we will let you off the hook this week.
That's right.
But you can come in store and shop.
Yeah.
Or you can go online and shop.
And if for some reason you did not get your email and you are watching this, please let us know.
Please let us know. We think we got everybody, but you know, there's actually a lot of you now. So
that's right.
If we've missed you, please let us know. We'll get that squared away. And we apologize.
Yes, but you can shop all weekend long, even if you aren't shopping.
Yeah, absolutely.
Bag lady, we've been running this week and last week to get new stuff on the website. So there's in case you haven't been there lately, thread is up. And we're moving along. We have Kingstar thread up there. We have some of our the Presencia,
fine line,
the fine line,
the variegated, and
yep. So we're making
got fabric books up.
Yeah, fabric books. So if you're looking for a quick, there's a lot of pandemic babies being born.
I've heard there were people doing some things
a
year,
apparently,
a little bit ago.
They were very busy.
They were busy doing some stuff. If
you have a little one coming from the stuff.
We can help you out with those. We got some really super cute.
They're so cute.
I wish I had
little ones
to give to. Not from my kids. Nope, not asking for that, but you know, nieces, nephews, somebody else's kids.
That's right. So if you're bored this weekend, you can shop with us.
Absolutely. That's right. We'll be right on top of that on Tuesday.
We'll be on top of that on Tuesday because it's going to be Tuesday again.
It will before we know it. And in June.
In June, yes. And that means that next week, Wednesday, it's going to be crazy Tuesday, Wednesday next week. Hello.
It'll be the Fit Bee.
That's right. It'll be the Fit Bee. And next week, Saturday, not this Saturday, but the following Saturday is my Kimberbell thing, which I'm super excited about. We still have more kits. So
there are a few.
And if you still want to.
Last minute. Fun.
That's right. If it turns out you're going to be around and you want to do this, it'll be fun. I promise. You never know what might come out of my mouth.
You never do.
No, it will definitely be entertaining for you, I'm sure.
Every day. All right. So we will see you guys next Tuesday, and I hope you have a wonderful holiday weekend. Please feel free to check out the website. Everything is just multiplying on there. We are really getting quite a bit there. So, enjoy the holiday. Hopefully your pool is all set up because I think it's going to be a hot one.
Yep.
And we'll see you guys next time. Take care. Bye.